Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, 다들 하지 뻔한 이야기.
Woo!
The hell is going on? Are we recording? Is that how we're starting today?
Gotta hype myself up. Sure. Yeah, we can start with that.
I think we have to. Honestly, I'm speechless at this point. So please go ahead.
Oh, I just need to get my energy up. We gotta speak with more volume. Get my energy up.
Yeah, you're scaring me.
There's been a couple episodes where I start hot and then all of a sudden I'm talking like this into the mic.
You should talk to Ryan Sherry about that. I'm sure
Yeah.
he's got some stuff for you.
It's called polar. We're polar opposites.
You and Cher Bear? I think everybody is polar opposites from Cher Bear.
There's got so much energy, dude.
There's like your normal. He's like 6 sigma away from the mean, like the average. Everybody else is like kind of clustered over here, and then there's Sherry.
Yeah. He's you know Russell Brand.
Yeah,
They kind of operate in the same, like, I think their brains are they're moving faster than everyone else's to the point where like they can't even keep up with their own brain. You know,
I can kind of see that.
There's a thought per second.
I could see that. Now I don't know Russell personally,
Yeah,
but that's not going to stop me from calling him Russell. So I'll take your word for that.
Yeah,
you are you guys like
Old Rusty.
Are you boys or what?
Me and Rusty.
Yeah, you and old Rusty.
Mm-hmm. We're boys. I have started to listen to his stuff lately. He's starting to emerge as like this new, kind of like our boy Chris Williams, our fellow podcaster here.
You're gonna butcher the dude's name.
Chris Williamson.
Yeah, what? Chris Williamson.
Chris Williamson.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here with Chris Williamson.
Do some respect. All right. Well, since I just pulled it up, let's start with Lea's tweet because I thought this was interesting. She just kind of came out of nowhere with this. I think this would affect certain players more, including her. Honestly, I feel like her reputation is built around singles. But let me just read it. I'm a firm believer that the singles division needs to be eliminated in pickleball. So she's talking about just like getting rid of singles altogether. Least watched event, most damage on the body, and no monetary gain. What's kind of like your initial thoughts? I mean, you very much built up your brand being a singles, like you've been more successful on the singles side than doubles. So certain players without singles, it's like, they become less relevant, right? They fall to middle of the pack.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because like I've definitely had comments on the way that singles has been laid out in the PPA, where it does feel like an afterthought a little bit. So I think getting rid of singles is obviously very extreme. I think there's a lot of people that love singles.
I've started to like watching it more and more with the new talent.
Well, here's the thing. So
I used to hate watching it. I used to be only doubles.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I think doubles and singles obviously showcase very different things, and they're almost completely different sports.
Yeah.
I think that they're so much different than the difference between tennis doubles and tennis singles. We're very, very, very close, I think, to complete specialization between singles and doubles.
Yeah.
The way that you need to train for singles is almost no crossover for the way that you would train doubles.
Right.
So I think maybe we're going to see the end of people playing both relatively soon. But I don't think we're going to see the end of singles. And the way that singles is set up at the PPA kind of makes it destined to fail. And I think one of the points that Lea had that I actually tweeted back, one of the things that she said was that viewership is low on singles. Well, what are you going to put on Thursday, right? If you put mixed doubles on Thursday, the viewership's going to be low as well.
Why do you have to put anything on Thursday?
Fair.
You're just kind of giving a reason as to why the viewership would be lower on Thursday.
Whatever
versus
you
other
put
days.
on Thursday is going to have low viewership.
Right.
So I guess my point was
Lower viewership than it has now.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I mean, like my point is, it wasn't long ago when the APP was running singles on Sundays for their tier 2 events, or PPA sometimes had, when we were just doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday events, singles was always Sunday.
Yeah.
And singles had just as much viewership as the Saturday event as well.
Yeah, I forgot that you would play the entire bracket and then the finals would be that day, right?
It was wild.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there
was no championship Sundays.
Yeah, no ship Sundays. I actually, take me back to those days. I kind of like those better.
They were interesting, but then it would like, it didn't quite build up the momentum the right way, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's probably you could do some of Championship Sunday and some not, probably for the like maybe the Futures Tour and stuff. But Lea is correct in that singles is super, super tough on the body. And I think you even made a tweet back saying like, or somebody made a tweet back saying like, imagine a tennis player saying that this is too hard on the body.
Yeah. I saw that.
Which, okay, actually having played college tennis, and I wasn't like an amazing tennis player or anything. Like I played D3 college tennis. I was pretty good. Team was nationally ranked. I played it towards the top of the lineup, but I was never a like D1 or had any delusions of being a professional tennis player.
Right.
But I could play a 2.5, 3 hour tennis match and I'd be shot, right? I'd be tired. But it's still not the same as a day of singles.
Yeah.
A day of singles at a PPA Tour event is, I will say it on record, is harder than a day of tennis matches.
Yeah.
Let's say you're playing 2 tennis matches, because tennis matches, you get warmed up, you play for an hour and a half, an hour or 2 hours, right? Pickleball, you play, sit, play, sit for 3 hours. You don't eat. Like, you don't know when you're playing. It's brutal. So I will actually say that I think a day of playing singles in pickleball is more difficult than almost any day of playing singles in tennis.
Isn't it the way you're loading your legs when you're cutting back and forth in such a small proximity that makes it tougher too?
The movement patterns are far more harsh in
way better way of saying what I just said.
No. It's, so the movement patterns are harsher in pickleball, right? So there's, in tennis, you get up to full sprints, which you don't always do in pickleball, but you really, really need to stop and start very quickly in pickleball. And I think that just hurts more.
Yeah.
So just for reference, like when I would play tennis matches, my muscles would be sore afterwards, right? When I play pickleball, my muscles aren't really sore, but like my knees hurt, my ankles hurt, my hips hurt.
Yeah.
Like it's harder on the joints than it is the muscles.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I get hit by a truck. Anyway, back to the main point.
Hold on. Before we go back to the main point, you mentioned your old college tennis buddies. What do they think about the fact that, all right, so you just said you were toward the top of the lineup. You were never this like exceptional player. You're good. What do they think about the fact that you're like making this insane run in pro pickleball now? Do you talk to them?
Well, yeah, I keep in touch with a bunch of my. No, of course not. Well, they did. So here's the thing. They did when I was playing pickleball in college.
Yeah.
Right. So like I would be playing around, and I was telling all my buddies, like, you guys got to start playing this game. It's so much fun. Let's play. I would hit them up all the time over summer, spring break, all that stuff. And they just kind of like, they dabbled, they'd play around a little bit, and they never really got super into it. And now maybe there's some regrets, but a bunch of my buddies are asking me for the new Zane paddle. My coach Frank Barnes over there at Whitewater, he's repping the Zane paddle. He's getting into it.
Yeah.
So they teased me a little bit because I was obsessed.
Yeah.
And now it's definitely paid off.
When you were playing pickleball, like for fun in college, and then you'd go back to tennis, were you learning anything from pickleball that you could bring back to the tennis court?
Yeah. So I hear so much that like,
because I think we talk about the reverse typically. Well, what can tennis bring to pickleball? But not often are we hearing, what does pickleball bring to tennis?
Right. But also I think one of the most common things we hear is like, I can't switch between the two. Like pickleball screws up my tennis, or tennis screws up my pickleball.
Yeah.
Pickleball helped my tennis so much. And obviously tennis helped my pickleball. I was never really like a phenomenal volleyer. But when I started playing the two side by side, my volleys got way better in tennis, right? And my anticipation and my net coverage got a lot better in tennis, and pattern recognition, poaching, all that stuff. So pickleball definitely helped my tennis game. And if you play both enough at the same time, they're not going to throw one another off.
Right.
Right. So you compartmentalize things,
Yeah,
but
you
then
get used to that adjustment.
yeah.
You can do it more easily.
Yeah, you do it very quickly, right?
Yeah.
I was at a point where I wouldn't even think about it, where I'd be switching. I actually had some times where I'd play pickle in the morning, and then I'd go. I had my senior year. I didn't have Wednesday classes, so I'd go play pickleball in the morning, and then I'd drive back to Whitewater and go to tennis practice. And I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Like it came naturally after a while.
Have you played padel yet?
I've played twice. Padel's amazing. Have you?
That throws off my game. One
Really?
time I was hitting with just like a padel paddle and like on the
It's a
pickleball
padel.
court, and then we played and I was like, whoa, this totally threw, because it's the slingshot effect on steroids.
Yeah, those
Like it's
things
a
are
trampoline.
really, really poppy.
Yeah.
Where did you play?
Down in like Florida.
Okay,
I've never actually played in a real like cage or whatever they call that box before.
Interesting. Wait, so what'd you play on in Florida?
We were just playing on a pickleball court with the stuff.
Let's
Like
go.
my uncle had brought it over.
There's a place out on the way to Dreamland.
I'm
It's
in.
like polo tennis or something
I'm
like
in.
that. And they have a couple of padel courts.
Dude, we'd be like, yeah, and who knows? Maybe I'm better than you.
I mean,
it'd be way more
we,
even
we
than
know.
pickleball.
We know. It'd be more
Dude, I was
even,
a
but
decent tennis player. I'm good at racket sports. Play a little racket ball when I was growing up.
okay. So if you can play off the walls, you'd probably be better than me.
Yeah, only when I was like a lot younger. Back when I was playing like tennis, which was only till I was like 12 probably.
Okay.
Did some USTAs.
Gotcha.
I think
think
I've
the
said this
key-
before, but as soon as I played against a kid in a USTA where his parents were up like in the viewing area with a clipboard, like writing
Oh,
down his
no.
mistakes, and in between games he would eat a certain amount of like energy gels and like and do these like sips of Gatorade. I was like, all right, this is different.
Who do you remember who it was?
No, I have no idea.
Oh,
I was
man.
like, this is far too intense.
This is too much
Yeah.
for me as a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Playing
This kid's insane.
Michigan USTAs.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Okay, back to singles. Lea's tweet.
Oh, main point. I mean, singles isn't going to go anywhere anytime soon. I do think that we're going to see specialization in one way or another quite soon. And I agree to a certain extent that like some of the risk isn't worth the reward on the body, but I think that's for individual athletes to assess.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Maybe we should get her on the pod. Tell her to.
She'd be good to get it. I want to get her on the pod.
All right, we'll get her on the pod. Let's
she's
debate
local
it.
too.
We'll debate it.
I'd like to hear her takes. She has a lot of good takes, and I also like when
She pops off. I appreciate
she
it.
Gets on the live streams when she's announcing. I'm a fan of her on the mic. One thing I will say about singles pickleball though, when I started playing that, which was over 2 years into playing pickleball, I played singles pickleball for the first time. I just swore it off. I was like, that's not for me.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
But once I did start playing it, it opened up new shots and new ways of thinking about doubles. So if you haven't played singles pickleball before and you're an avid doubles player, you should. You'll learn things that you can then implement in your doubles game that'll make you better.
Yeah, I'd say singles definitely helps your doubles game. I think doubles probably is neutral, if not hurting your singles game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain like pickups and whatnot and dinks in doubles, but I think for the most part, doubles is neutral, if not slightly bad for your singles game.
Yeah.
By the way, we got to shout out the podcast studio that we're at. They just got sponsored by Liquid Death, and I was perusing the Liquid Death situation in their fridge, and something caught my eye.
What? Yeah, go ahead.
What are you laughing about over
Mine's
there?
called Convicted Melon. What a ridiculous name for a flavor
Well,
of anything.
there were a lot of ridiculous
Let me try
names,
this.
but you're gonna have to guess which one caught my eye. And it's called Mango Chainsaw.
Yeah.
I had to, right? I had to. Liquid Death. I mean, I'm the inventor of the chainsaw serve. They canceled it. I'm basically the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of pickleball.
Mm-hmm.
Sponsor me, sponsor the podcast, sponsor Thomas.
Yeah. Is that one sparkling?
It is sparkling.
Okay, we got to get you a Liquid Death just because obviously that just makes sense for you, the chainsaw.
Obviously.
Then also Viore. we're working on that right now. So
Yeah?
hopefully we'll both be decked out in Viore here soon.
Love it. Let's get it.
But yeah, so the one tweet you were referring to was like, imagine if a tennis player was like, let's eliminate singles because it's too tough. And Lea was like, I played both at a high level, which you have not. Love it.
Wait, who did she reply that to?
Will Jameson. I don't know who that is. I don't know if, I think he's just a guy who follows.
Just a guy. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
Sorry,
know,
Will.
maybe. Sorry, Will. If you,
Just a guy.
I don't know. I played both at a high level, which you have not. I can assure you. Love how she comes out with the fire. Like, do not.
No F's given.
Yeah, do not question her tweet.
Watch Will was a satellite ATP player.
Dude, I think generally, like, the commenters, if you're just like now getting into the world where you have a little bit of a following, you're in the highlight clips, you're getting posted on social media, and you're experiencing the viciousness that is like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube commenters, I think it's like hitting some of these players and they're kind of shell shocked. And now they're like always defensive, like they're ready to just snap.
Clawing back.
Yeah. A lot of pickleball players are like that now, which is funny.
Well, I appreciate it. Lea woke up yesterday and chose violence.
Yeah.
I mean, like, but here's the thing. I think that like it depends on the social media that you're on, right?
Yeah,
like
Different.
Twitter is all about dunking on people.
yeah. TikTok is like they'll go for the throat.
TikTok, I don't even read anybody's TikTok comments because they're all just garbage.
Yeah, they're all
garbage.
And they're so ruthless. It's like
they're
all these
ruthless,
little kids,
but also unoriginal. They're like, this is
Yeah.
just stupid tennis for old people.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's the 75th time I've ever heard that.
TikTok is like if you took Xbox Live
God.
chat and put them in comment form. Like it's
yes,
just
with
ruthless.
with more like with less slurs.
Yeah.
Slightly less
right,
slurs.
right. It's a little more buttoned up. They just kind of bleep it out or exchange it for a
Exactly.
euphemism.
Or somebody at TikTok is deleting those.
Yeah. I think though that you should, like, these commenters, if they're just sort of like, I don't think it's wrong to go back at them. Even as like a brand from the Dink account, we'll chirp people back if they just come at us unwarranted.
You do it pretty creatively. I always get a kick out of that.
Yeah, and it's fun. And like usually like it racks up a bunch of likes because I think it's uncommon to see a brand kind of get into the mud.
Engaging in it.
But like,
here's the thing,
you know.
as a brand, right? You only, let's say 10 people have like pretty good digs at you, but one person leaves the door open for like somebody, for you to come back at them.
Yeah.
All you have to do is like quote tweet that one person, dunk on them, and then and then you win, right?
Yeah.
Nobody else is seeing the like those 10 other people that like might have got you.
One time a YouTube comment was just like so ruthless and so unwarranted. And I don't remember what we said back, but we said something and it just racked up the likes. And the person was like, "Oh my God, how unprofessional that a company would say something." I'm like, you think that like because it's a company, it's like this entity. Like there's somebody behind the keyboard, right? Like we're people over here too. You can't like hide under the veil of like thinking you're just going to be safe because we're a brand. Like, no, we're going to come at you if you just are unnecessarily being rude or mean. And I think more people should embrace that, including Lea and the rest of the pickleballs.
Let's get it. Every once in a while, when somebody says something just completely brutal, I'll just respond to him like overly nice and apologetic. And I think I win still.
Yeah. And then
like,
they feel bad and they're like, damn.
They're like, what do I say now? Every once in a while.
Yeah. There's been a few commenters who, you know, just hated on post after post, like pickleball sucks. And then we just started being like, I love you. Like you're my best friend.
Commenters, roast us. Go ahead, roast us.
Yeah.
Let us know. We'll respond with either anger or love. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
I might even pop in on those YouTube comments. So leave a comment. I'll either roast you or love you. We'll find out.
Yeah. But anyway, all right. So a lot of tangents today. I like it. She goes, I can assure you playing 3 to 7 singles pickleball matches in a day does not compare to tennis.
Oh shit, we're still talking about this?
One match. Yeah. Plus then the turnaround times 20 to 25 times a year. Plus then the turnaround times 20 to 25 times a year. If you haven't done it, you simply don't know. Basically, she's just saying, like, if you haven't tried it, like, you don't know what you're talking about, especially at that level.
Yeah, and a lot of us don't have the funds to, again, like take care of our bodies the same way that a pro tennis player might, right? Where
Yeah.
Djokovic is sleeping in like a hyperbaric
Right,
chamber and stuff like that.
Right.
Like,
The masseuse comes over in the morning every day. Like,
yeah, but
it's just different. MTE is a rapidly growing 2-ounce supplement and drink that supports peak performance and feeling good the right way by replacing excessive caffeine with proven adaptogen and nootropics that provides all the energy and focus benefits of excessive caffeine, but without any of the pitfalls like jitters and insomnia. The formula also supports a calm mood, stress response, inflammation response, immunity, and better sleep at night. Go to getmte.com, getmte.com. Use the code TheDink15. That's all caps, TheDink15. And that'll give you guys 15% off your first order. That's code TheDink15 at getmte.com. If you want to work in pickleball, pickleballjobs.io. All sorts of new jobs being added every day. Work in pickleball. You know you want to. Should we read the Medium article?
like read the entire thing.
We'll read parts of it. It's
Absolutely.
not that long.
Absolutely.
All right. So this actually was written. I feel bad for this woman. At first I was like, get out of here, like ousting these players, like you're just complaining. But then she said one thing that put it in perspective, and I started to kind of just feel bad for her. But this woman took to Medium, which is kind of like a Substack, but for blogs.
Hold on. Back up. What? I don't even know what Substack is.
Substack it's a newsletter platform. It's becoming like really popular. They're all over the place now. They're like a unicorn startup. And basically all these journalists who used to write for the New York Times or like Fox News or whatever, they're saying, you know what, like they're censoring us too much. I'm just going to go build my own brand on Substack. And so all these like really talented writers are becoming their own publications using Substack as a tool as opposed to working for these traditional media conglomerates. And so Substack has basically like opened up the media landscape, and it's just paved the way for more like independent journalism.
Gotcha.
That's how
Medium
I think of Substack.
is like another version or another...
Medium. Yeah. Medium.com is like essentially the blog version.
Okay.
So anybody can go on there, create an account, and start writing blogs, and you can kind of build a following that way. And I don't think this woman has a blog. I think she's just a pickleball player. And her blog was Grow Up Pickleball. And she wrote it March 14th. Today is April 3rd. But
I got sent this by like 8 or 9 different people.
So, but that was only recently. It was like last week that it started circulating.
Yeah.
So she wrote this, and it sort of just was nobody saw it or anything. But
I think
now
somebody saw it and like posted it to a forum or something.
Drop Pickleball. Narrated it. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
They like
see
read
that.
it romantically with like
Of course he did.
Yeah, it was like a fireside reading of Grow Up Pickleball.
Tropical texted me that he's gonna come officiate my wedding. So
I like it.
I was like, let me talk to Jenny on that one and get back to you.
Yeah.
But anyway, lots of tangents today. Let's read the article. Try and make your voice as sexy as Tropical.
So before Tropical was Tropical, he's from the same area as me in Michigan, and I would play with him all the time. And then all of a sudden he spun up this account. I was like, oh, this is hilarious. And now he's like in the weeds. He's like actually in the know of pro pickleball, and he does a really good job of like talking to people. He's a good insider now. It's Nick over there at Trop. So this thing's called Grow Up Pickleball. And basically, a little intro, and then she gets into she goes, pickleball's problem is much more serious. It could result in the loss of respect and reputation as a sport accessible to all, enjoyed by many, and truly excelled at by few. Pickleball's problem lies in the irresponsible behavior of a few athletes who are without question physically gifted, but who are completely wrapped up in their pseudo-celebrity status and have yet to mature beyond their sophomore year of college, when they believed the sun rose and set on their heads and they could do whatever they wanted without consequence. Kind of a scathing little opener for Donna here. Donna looks like maybe she's 60-ish age range based on her avatar. Oh, she says it in the next line. As a 63-year-old
Wow.
former tennis player. So she talks about why she loves pickleball, blah, blah, blah. While I was enjoying all the good things pickleball afforded me, I was still dismayed by some of the incidents I saw occurring around the sport. No, he shouldn't have thrown his paddle. He has no idea it would ricochet into the spectators. Those Facebook posts are certainly inappropriate, and I wonder what his paddle sponsor thinks, but at least it's his wife he's grabbing. I don't know what that's in reference to. He's young and eager to move up the pro ladder, so of course he publicly brags about easily beating an older established player at a tournament. I know the pros are light years ahead of the average player in skill, but I wish they wouldn't spend time in their podcasts belittling the 3-0 players who sign up for their camps, spending hundreds of dollars to learn from
No. That wasn't us. We only belittle 135.
Yeah,
There's 135 that we belittle.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's in reference to us. I don't think so.
I want to name names, Donna. Come on, Donna. Let's get Donna on the podcast. Donna, we need her.
Donna Cap, you are
open invite. Respond. Yeah. Message us. Message me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is. I'm excited.
Imagine my excitement when the PPA rolled into my town and took over my club to host the Florida Open. I registered to play women's doubles. I paid $57. Blah blah blah. As a woman living alone in a 4-bedroom house, I wanted to share my resources by providing players a comfortable place to sleep and prepared to play well in the tournament. That's when I started to be like, like she's the 63-year-old. She lives alone in a 4-bedroom home. She's found pickleball as this outlet, this thing that she just loves and is immersing herself in. And she starts to watch pro pickleball and she starts like loving these pros. And she says, well, I want to house them. I want to put them up for a tournament. Like, this is a really cool opportunity for me to give back, and it's this thing I love. And
yeah, it is always very, very cool when people volunteer for this type of stuff. And, and the PPA does a good job of asking us if we need housing and whatnot. So definitely, Donna, thank you for that, and thank you to anybody else that does host. It is always fun. And,
definitely, and
is very cool of people to do that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who do it. We've stayed in a host house before, and it was like a great experience.
I've met a lot of very, very good friends, people that I still talk to this day from host families. Also, had some interesting host family experiences, not going to lie. But I don't know if I've spoken about this on the podcast.
Go for it.
But one host family experience was like right when I was starting, probably before I was even playing pro. But I did a little bit of a drive. And a super nice family had me stay, and I was talking to them. We went to dinner and whatnot. We go back to the place, and the lady starts showing me pictures of the grandkids. I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. Like, we talk about the grandkids for a little while, and then I'm like, all right, well, hey, I'm gonna get some sleep, And she shows me to the room. I open up the door. There have got to be the entire room is surrounded by pictures of her grandkids, and my heart sinks. And we spent the next hour and a half going through every picture of the grandkids in there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that host experience was not the best, but still very kind of them.
Those are the dues you have to pay, though.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay, pay for this Airbnb or this hotel, or you pay in the form of your grandchildren. They look like great people.
They did look like great people. They did.
You got to put in the work, like schmoozing and stuff like that.
Yeah. But anyway, lots of tangents today. Let's get back to it.
No, this is good because we got to break this up because I'm like reading this whole thing basically. We mostly greeted each other as we passed in the morning, and again at night engaged in our assignments for the day. They woke up around 8, spent the day at the club, and I went to bed around 10, so there was very little time to get in each other's way. As it should be, I told myself. These professionals are committed to their sport. They want to perform at the best, blah, 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 so it makes sense. Except when Saturday evening arrived and neither player made it into Championship Sunday. I was informed that all the players who don't play on Sunday partied together Saturday night. At 10 p.m., when Uber arrived, they promised to be quiet when they got back later, and they would probably still be asleep when I left for their men's singles final. They might see me at the venue. At 3:30 a.m., I woke up to what sounded like a herd of cattle coming through the front door. Lights went on and off. Cell phones hit wood floors. Humidity swelled doors stuck in the openings and closings. Voices mumbled amidst low laughter. Well, at least they're home and I can still catch a few hours of sleep, I thought. But you know that groan that some tennis players emit during a match? And you know how some pickleball players make those same groans during a strenuous point? It was only a few minutes later that those sounds began to emanate from the bedroom next to mine. She's got a way with words.
she does. Yes, she does. You got to get her right in for the dink.
Yeah,
man.
the delivery is great. She really, yeah. At first, I thought someone was so drunk they were vomiting in the bed. Then I realized it wasn't that. Then I realized it wasn't that, and that the sounds were not being made by a female. I was shocked. I went to the hallway to be sure of what I was hearing. I looked out the front window to see a strange vehicle parked in my driveway alongside my guest's car. I went back into my bedroom, closing the door loudly, hoping to enforce an embarrassed quiet. I was unsuccessful, but I decided to be cool. I decided that at 9 a.m. I would ask my guests to leave before I headed to the courts. I laid in bed with my eyes open, stewing over such disrespectful behavior. Around 7 a.m., this is 4 hours later, I heard voices and movement in the hall. Good, I thought, they're gone. But soon I heard footsteps in the hall again and laughter coming from the bedroom. Trying to figure out what had happened, I looked at the video from the Ring camera at my front door. I expected to see someone walking down the steps and out to their car. Instead, what I saw was a shirtless man standing on my front porch, casually urinating into a planter.
I should laugh. This sucks for Dada. I do feel bad for Dada, but it's, oh boy, that's brutal. That's kind of funny, but it's brutal.
At this point, like, ideas are going through my head as to who this might be.
Right? Immediately as I'm reading this, I'm like, all right, who was this?
Yeah.
Who's not playing? Who played Daytona? Who's
right.
not in championship
Who
Sunday?
fits these characteristics. Later, she says that it was like one APP and one PPA player. So there's like another clue. This would be like the last paragraph I read. That was the end of me being cool. I knocked heavily on the bedroom door, and when, after a long pause, she opened the door, I told my guest I wanted them to all leave immediately. 20 minutes later, she and two uninvited male pros slunk out my front door. I don't know where my other guests spent the night, but I made it clear that while I had opened my home to them, that I did not make it acceptable for them to invite others to join them. I immediately deactivated the digital key code I'd given them. There's some more stuff. You can find this thing online. But yeah, this is making the rounds now. And there's a lot of speculation as to who these people are. I've heard with a decent amount of certainty who it is.
Are you going to name names?
No.
Yeah, because I have to. Comment below. Who do you think it was?
Let's hear the speculation.
Who pissed in the planter? Who pissed?
But
that is brutal. Like it's a funny story, but like obviously not funny from the perspective of Donna, right? Like that does suck when you're being generous and not having any real expectations of them to kind of get used and abused a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that part of the article was she did have a conversation with the PPA, so I'm sure they're going to be cracking down on us with that type of stuff a little bit, or having a talking to with those players. I think those players should get fined. Probably a little bit. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, we're just handing fines out willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Like, if DJ is going to get fined for a little paddle drop, this is finable for sure. But I understand it from the PPA's perspective, too, because when it's just the players, like if I reached out to Donna and I did this, it would look bad on me and only me. But when the PPA reaches out to Donna on my behalf and I do this, well, now it looks equally bad on the PPA. So I understand that they want to protect themselves as well. And if you're gonna throw ragers, just buy a hotel room, or at least for one, maybe Saturday night hotel rooms.
Yeah.
You keep it civil. Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, you sleep on Sherry's party bus.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, in some sense, it's like, yeah, okay. Does a PPA need to hold players accountable? Is the PPA at fault here? Like, yeah, to a degree, but I don't know. As we talk about everything from paddle regulations to the way the courts are set up to things like this, it's like when you're growing a business in the midst of the fastest growing sport ever, it's like there are just going to be things that arise like this, and you have to address them when they do arise. I mean, you just wouldn't have thought about this being an issue.
Right.
And so you need to correct them when they happen. And I would just chalk it all up to growing pains, essentially.
Yeah, if I was in the PPA shoes, I wouldn't have assumed that somebody's like this needs a proactive talking about, right? Like, don't trash this person's house and have three ways in their in their bedroom.
3 ways.
Well, she said that there was one female guest and 2 male guests that came out of the bedroom.
Yeah. To analyze that a little bit further, so 2 females were staying with her. One didn't come home at all. One came back with 2 guys. One of those guys was pissing off the planter, or was pissing off the porch, shirtless at 7 a.m.
I don't even have a comment for that, but
Sounds like a fun night.
take your 3 ways elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't think the PPA has any blame in this one. I'm not suggesting that we do blame the PPA. I'm suggesting from from Donna's perspective, when the PPA is involved, right? It's not the look that they want to have.
Yeah.
And they also couldn't have expected this. I wouldn't have. And yeah, I think it should be more a indictment on the players and the league for sure. But yeah, growing pains, and a lot of us are very immature still. There are still some kids who haven't gone to college yet, or even just young adults where this is their first job.
Yeah. And they're starting to make real money. When they walk around at these events, people are coming up to them, asking for pictures, asking for autographs. Their highlights are getting shared on social media. Their follower counts are going up. It's
yeah, they're not growing up, just their followers.
Yeah. You can understand where some of the stuff might happen when you're just enjoying the moment and the ecstasy that is all this growth and being in the middle of this. Like,
yeah, and I would really, really doubt that this is anything unique to pickleball. I think
Right.
it's probably something that happens with pro athletes. You hear about
Yeah.
basketball and baseball and football players going nuts. I'm sure tennis players do
Yeah.
it. We're all young adults with decent amounts of money. Like, people are gonna do some stupid shit.
Yeah. The difference is like this host family thing.
Right.
Because people
would
need
hope
to
that people
subsidize
wouldn't.
their costs, right? And this is one easy way to do that and have like good housing and stuff. So is what it is. All right. One of the things, transition game strong here. It was one APP and one PPA player. Let's talk a little bit about the different tours and kind of where those are. Every time, so I think we were kind of on a streak where we hadn't seen, it was like a PPA, then MLP, and that was a focus, and then there was an APP event this past weekend, and I'm always surprised by like the level of play and like the fact that there's still really great players competing in the APP, and it's pretty fun to watch. And I've said this a million times, but it opens the door for like a is it Christian Keenum?
Yeah.
To make a run and end up in a final, right? And that is exciting. These kind of lesser known players who aren't as established, being able to compete for gold, and it's still high level pickleball, and it's fun to watch. But yeah, what do you just kind of think of as far as like the APP goes, the tours?
Definitely. I mean, I do still think that it's interesting to see different matchups, different names, giving people a chance to emerge as well. Somebody like Pesa Teoni took a gold with Andre. Let's see. There was
and Pesa's fun to watch.
Yeah, he's got an
plays with
interesting game.
violence.
Yes, he does.
He leaves the ground a lot for his shots.
That guy is explosive. He's
That's
like
the
he looks
best
like a
word.
running back.
Yeah.
He really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, a team like William Sobek and Christian Keenum took a bronze there.
Yeah, Sobek's another one. He's been around for a long time.
Yeah. He's been around. Let's see. Me and my buddy Kyle Selenko played him and his dad. I think it was at the 2019 U.S. Open or something. We played him in the back draw of age, and I think we're both playing 19 plus because Rusty is like 48 at the time, and then William's like 16. My buddy Kyle is like 30 at the time. I'm probably like 19, 20, 21. I don't even know. But so we played in 19 plus, and we lost to those guys. Kyle got chewed up. I'm not going to take blame for that one. My boy Eddie, Kyle Sliko. But well, it's cool to see somebody like William progress over so many years, right? Some people have a meteoric quick rise, and some people just take their time and get consistently better.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel those guys, the guys that just consistently day in and day out get a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I think William is in that category.
Wouldn't you even say that like JW and Georgia are in that category?
Yeah, I would say so. Georgia more so than JW probably. JW had a shortened window where he got really good, really good, quick.
Yeah.
And Georgia's been more steady, I think.
Yeah. The Sobeks, by the way, those are the I think they're like tennis. They come from tennis. Like how I mentioned when I was playing that USTA and the parents were up with the clipboard and the kid was eating the fruit snacks and it was like they were taking it very seriously. To me, that's them.
Rusty, good old Czech heritage. Me and him are gonna go to the Czech Republic sometime. Tear it up.
Yeah.
I'm Czech. I'm 4% Czech. Navratil.
Of course.
Related to Martina Navratilova.
Yeah. You're pretty. You got like a pretty mixed background.
Oh yeah, I'm a mutt. It's better. Life's better that way.
Yeah.
But anyway, looking back at it, so I've had some time to think about about the Vibe merge, about APP, PPA, all of that stuff, and people are talking about the APP like they're down and out, and I would say for the time being they're behind, right? Mm-hmm. The PPA is the Pro Tour at this point.
Yeah.
But when you look at it from the lens of last year in these contract negotiations, what was the APP supposed to do, right? So if you think about it, MLP and Vibe are sitting on probably $20 million of liquid cash from selling these teams, right? And the APP is chugging along. They're probably cash flow positive from their tournaments.
Yep.
Probably not from the professional game.
Mm-hmm.
What would they be doing? What would the APP be doing if they're giving serious offers to players? Like how it's not a bidding war that they could have won. Right. So what they did was they drove up the prices. They gave me offers. They gave some of the other APP players offers. What did we do? We said, hey, PPA, this is what our offer is from the APP. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And they matched it, if not did better.
Right.
And then at a certain point, the APP said, okay, all the offers are gone.
Mm-hmm.
So what did they do? They inflated the price for their rivals, understanding that like these players are paid a lot. That is a lot of cash out the door for each and every event. If you want to own all the players, you better pay for it.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that was a calculated move.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts?
That would have been the best move in that circumstance. It wouldn't be, let's just say, we're not going to compete at all, right? It would be to drive up the price for their competitors. But I think there's kind of two things here, right? Like there's the PPA and MLP spending, raising money, kind of this high growth mindset. If it doesn't reach this point where that starts to return profits, right? If these businesses don't become profitable, well, then all of a sudden they're in trouble. They can't sustain that level of spending. Whereas the APP is like, well, let's just continue to run a good, sound, profitable business here. And we can last through anything, right? We're just going to stick around because we have this profitable business model. And there is a world, I think, where if the viewership doesn't get to this certain point where, well, they just can't, like, these people who are spending a lot, they just can't sustain it anymore. And who knows, maybe they go into the red and they have to basically just close up shop. Whereas the APP was just sitting there the whole time, just kind of playing the waiting game, playing the long, patient game, right?
Yeah.
They were the tortoise.
And think about it too from like the amount of players, right? The amount of players that were good enough to be considered professionals in 2020 was maybe 20.
Yeah.
2021 was 30. Last year, 50.
Mhm.
This year, probably 60, 70.
Yeah.
Maybe 50. I don't know. Because there's 48 players in the, like, basically the amount of pro pickleball players and the amount of talent isn't shrinking. It's exploding.
Yeah.
So next year, is PPA and MLP going to swipe up 20 new players if we have 20 players emerge? Maybe. But at what point can they not sign everybody?
Right.
Or is there a point? Or are they just going to sign everybody in perpetuity?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So
Yeah. Do they have that much capital?
yeah,
Is that feasible?
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Right now, they're definitely behind, but I don't know if that's necessarily a bad play.
Mhm.
We should have asked Connor about it.
Yeah. Yeah. To get his perspective on it. He probably would have danced around it like the good politician he is. But he would have given at least some good insight there.
Yeah. Speaking of good insight,
Yeah, I got
God, these
it's so
transitions are
funny.
so bad. Speaking of good insight, you can get pickleball coaching for Big Papa Jimmy.
Yeah, I got to pull up this email.
I sent him one too.
It's so funny. We both saw this and immediately sent him an email without knowing.
We didn't even talk to each other about it.
Yeah, right. God, where is it?
What's his email? I forgot what I gotta pull it up too.
Yeah, it's jignatowicz@gmail.com. But basically, James Ignatowicz tweeted, I'm going to do online pickleball coaching. Here's my email. Email me thoughts. And then I think on his podcast or something, he was going to like read and give advice, which is a good idea. But I saw this as an opportunity.
As did I. As did any
To get some
right-minded
advice.
individual.
And I just want to make it clear. I didn't include any names here. Okay. I'm not saying who this is or if there's multiple people, but this is the email I sent to James. Hey, James, short time listener, first time emailer, not necessarily a coaching request per se, but seeking pickleball advice nonetheless. A certain 3.48 pickleballer has taken to social media and YouTube. Granted, it is with strong production value to pontificate about his pickleball prowess, espouse half-truths regarding tournament experiences, and pose as a know-it-all paddle expert. In your experience, how do you deal with those that think they are better than everyone, but fail to recognize that they are, in fact, still considered sub-intermediate level? Obviously, we don't want to hurt the little guy's feelings. He's very enthusiastic and his heart is in the right place. But man, he needs to face reality. Thanks, man. One of the Picklepod hosts, Mediocre Pickleball Pod. He responded, Thomas, Chris Olsen has already reached out to me for advice on a myriad of topics, ranging from the game of pickleball to how to initiate a conversation with a woman. Frankly, he hasn't left me alone. For example, at 2:36 a.m. last night, he emailed me 2 consecutive times in a matter of 10 minutes, initially asking for advice on how to increase his hand speed, and in a separate email just 10 minutes later, pleading with me that he just needs companionship. At this point, I am thoroughly concerned for Chris. However, it is ultimately not my problem. Therefore, I've been forced to add a Chris tax when it comes to my teachings. Anything Chris related results in a 300% price increase.
Fair.
In fact, anyone simply bearing the first name Chris is subject to a 150% price increase.
Sound
Since
policy.
merely hearing or reading the name Chris puts me in a bad mood. I am truly sorry that these are the circumstances in which we find ourselves in. If I could give you one word of advice, distance yourself from Chris at all costs until he gets serious long-term help. This is in the best interest of your sanity and ultimately your safety. Thanks for your understanding, James.
Oh, wow. He took it next level. He really took it next level.
Dude, the best part is like we're just emailing each other, right? Like there's nobody else involved in this. This is just like a private email exchange.
That's so funny. I sent him one.
So I forwarded it to you. I go, we're reading this on Monday.
For sure, but I didn't actually read it. I didn't read the email.
Yeah.
I just figured, damn, well, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I said, hey, Big Papa, low-key, I'm washed. Please help. I'm barely beating Christian Alshon these days. Gucci Zane. He didn't respond to me.
No reply?
No reply.
What kind of coaching advice is this?
I don't know. But we had a good text conversation about why he no longer why his beef is over with Christian.
Christian or Chris?
Christian. His beef is over with Christian. Maybe it's because he just doesn't respond to anybody with Chris in the name.
Yeah, right. It's there technically.
Yeah.
Well,
so
why is the beef over?
maybe we'll have to ask him, but I don't think it's something that's repeatable on the podcast.
Damn, now I want to know so bad.
I learned a lot about Big Papa's moral compass.
Okay.
Anyway,
Oh,
how do we segue out of this one?
I don't know. Honestly,
Pickle Slam, that happened.
Yeah.
Thomas, take it away.
Let's see. Pickleball Slam. I put on the singles, turned it off pretty quickly. Wasn't a big fan of it. But the doubles, I think, thankfully, made up some ground that was sort of made up for somebody said calamity, great word, that was Pickled. That show with Stephen Colbert and all the celebrities.
Yeah, that was rough.
Because I think more than anything, that just made pickleball look like even more of a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this event seemed to be decent pickleball, legends, sweating, putting in the effort, caring, and they did a good job. Like McEnroe did a good job of playing into the controversy, like the foot faults and stuff like that. Of course. Playing up the drama. So that added to like the entertainment value, but it was good. It was good pickleball. And I think seeing like tennis legends like that actually dueling it out and, having a tough time. It's not as easy as it looks. I thought it was good. And then just the way they like set up the courts, the black court, the way the lighting was, the way the replays were, I thought that was just like, I thought it was really cool. So
yeah,
all in all, I thought it was a pretty good event.
Yeah, pretty cool production for sure. And my biggest concern was that this was going to be a hit and giggle, right?
Yeah.
Where they're just hitting around and nobody's really trying too much. But like and again, that would make pickleball look bad. Yeah. Once again, if these guys are out there just not giving it the time of day.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case, right? They got $1 million online, charity for charity.
Could they have just like taken the $1 million? I mean, I think it was just assumed that they would give it to a charity. But was that like actually part of the?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just reading the dink, so maybe this isn't a reliable source.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
It says the $1 million charity exhibition.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You might know better than I do.
Yeah.
I'm literally reading the dink right now.
Yeah. Turns out it's not just me these days. I got to start reading our own stuff.
Yeah,
Putting out a lot of content.
Probably know what that is.
It's tough to keep up with.
But I guess going through this, like expectations were, I think, play style wise, right? My guess was going to be that McEnroe would be the best, just play style, right? But he is also 15 years older than Roddick. He might even be more than that. I think he's like 20 years older than Roddick, at least 10 years older than Agassi. But style wise, like he's all about hands and serve and volleyer, probably one of the best serve and volleyers of all time. And it was cool to see him, even though he's older, hold his own. And that's a cool part about pickleball, right?
Yeah.
So I would have thought that he would be the best in doubles, maybe, or at least skill set translating. And let's see, he struggled a little bit in singles. But Roddick hasn't been retired all that long. What has he been retired? 4 or 5 years? Something like that. So solid to see those guys out there. And who ended up actually winning? It was Agassi and Roddick, right? Beat Chang and Johnny Mack.
Mm-hmm.
it was priceless to see John McEnroe do the exact same thing that every professional player
that's
does.
what all the comments were.
He is in the kitchen, but he pulls back, looks down, and he's not in the kitchen.
Yeah,
We've all done that.
All felt that pain.
We've all done that.
Then he like drops his paddle and goes and like takes a moment.
It was funny when he won the argument with Courtney as well, where Agassi was saying you didn't call the score.
Yeah,
But he did call the score.
Right.
He goes, "This is the first argument I've won with an umpire in 40 years." That's pretty epic.
Yeah.
Johnny Mac's an entertainer, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That is for sure.
Yeah. But all in all, I thought it was a cool production, and I think next time around they should do it more like the match, where it's there's pros involved in it too, right? So it's like
Kind of like it was at Bubbly a
yeah,
little bit.
Yeah. But with that same production value, high dollar figure on the line. And that way, when you do put it on a stage that big, you also show what the best level of pickleball looks like.
Right. And you have a little bit of contrast. Like these are the best. These
Yeah.
are 4 of the best tennis players
Yeah.
of all time.
Like
And
instead of
then-
singles, they should have done something like that,
Mhm.
like a pro-am
Mhm.
type of format.
Or even just one quick game to 15 or something of
Yeah.
pros.
Yeah.
scoring.
Just to put it on, just to showcase it.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like.
Yeah. I like that idea.
Yeah, and then put a shot clock and body bag 2 points in place.
I like those
just for that
ideas too.
match. Yeah.
I like those ideas. So we were speaking about whose game is going to translate the best, and I've been saying for a while, like of every single tennis player that's currently out there, people have asked me for years, like, what if Federer played pickleball?
Mhm.
Like, I don't give a shit if Federer plays pickleball. I want to see Jack Sock play pickleball,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get to see it.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely think that his pickleball game, and I've said this for a while, you can check my sources. His pickleball game is going to translate better than anybody else in professional tennis because of the way that he plays.
Yeah.
And people have asked me, like, well, he has such an extreme grip on his forehand. Guys, he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. He's not going to hold his pickleball paddle like this.
Yeah.
Right. But what I judge somebody on is their ability to get easy power, right? Somebody like James Ignatowicz, who can generate a tremendous amount of power from here to here, is super, super important. And when you look at Jack Sock's technique in tennis, he's very, very compact and is able to really explosively hit the ball. And also, sick doubles player, right? So I can't wait to see that happen. We'll see if he'll be able to carry Tyson. We'll see if he can make himself light enough to get carried by Annalie. By the way, Jack is actually playing a PPA event with Tyson McMuffin and Annalie Waters in North Carolina in beginning of May. So that'll be pretty sick. I think they'll actually do pretty well.
I think so. I'd be impressed if they met. I mean, they're just going to target the hell out of Sock, right? I mean, as they should. But like in mixed, I wonder how they play it.
Right. Well, I mean, I think
He's playing with Annalie.
In mixed, you obviously have to do your best to try and slow it down to Jack and make him play pickleball.
Right.
Make him hit dinks.
Yeah.
If he's smart, is going to do everything that he possibly can to not play pickleball.
Play tennis.
He's not as good of a pickleball player yet as these top pros. And one of the things that, playing against Ben and Colin sometimes that they do is they really make the points slow and boring, and they give you dead, unattackable dinks time after time until somebody gets impatient or whatever. And I think that's the way that you kind of have to play Jack. So I think if he's smart, or if they're smart, I think Jack would probably play the ad side or the odd side and be really active about moving for Ernie's to try and get his partner involved as well. And also, he's got probably the sickest Ernie out there other
Yeah.
than maybe Loong.
Violent.
It is violent. Wakes up and chooses violence. So I think if they strategize well, I would think they'd be I think Anna Lee and him are a top 5 team. I don't know if they can. I'm gonna say I don't think that they can medal.
You're playing in that. Who are you playing with?
Let's consult the spreadsheet. I never remember.
You
I
don't
remember
know.
who other people play with, but I don't remember who I play with.
Right. What are you gonna do?
What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Me and Etta and I are gonna try and build some chemistry for our very first tournament together, and I think we're just gonna go right at Jack.
Yeah.
Just speed up everything at him. No hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest issue when I play against non-pickleballers is like they want to speed it up, and when they play that game, I want to show them that I can speed it up better than them. You know,
You're the alpha.
Yeah, the ego gets involved, and so I play into their hand as opposed to what you should do, as you were saying, which is like make them play the game, make them play the slow game, make them play the touch game, make them dink.
Yeah, but there's a fine line too there where it's like you can't be completely passive and allow them to speed up at will. And they need to be good quality dinks. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna be a fan of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what else do we got? That's all I have there.
No, I think that's pretty much it. You and I looked at each other. We were like, I don't think we have that much this week.
We could just BS for a little longer. No, I think you said you have some housekeeping things.
Yeah, well, so Chad, I want to send you your pullover, and I know you sent us your information, but I don't know where you sent it, and so I don't have your information, and so I can't send you your pullover. So you need to email us or something again, or DM us or something.
Be better, Thomas. Yeah. Chad is out here hustling,
I know.
lactating,
Oh, I know.
doing it all.
Yeah.
and you can't even find his email.
Back to
Be better.
our DJ.
I'm sorry,
episode,
Chad.
Our DJ episode when DJ said something about like he said something about titty milk, and neither of us picked up on it, and I only noticed when I was watching it back.
Yeah, I had no idea.
No, yeah, it totally went right over our heads, dude. I was dying laughing watching that back because neither of us, we just like don't acknowledge it. It looks like we're like, oh, that was too far. Like, let's not. But that was.
Let's get DJ back on the pod.
Yeah, that was a good episode. That was fun.
That was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, we'll get Ben on next week, which will be interesting, and we're going to go over the legends of pickleball, the legends of pickleball that you all and I have not heard of. So I think that'll be interesting because there's some really fun ones.
Absolutely.
And some interesting ones.
The Puppet Master, baby.
Yeah.
The Puppet Master.
Yeah. Him and some others who apparently don't want to cross.
Correct. Correct.
But no, I think that's pretty much it. Let's see. Yeah, if you send us video recordings, like that one time we played the recording from Trop, like if you basically what we were just talking about, like send us some questions in video, we'll play it on here and we'll answer the questions or give you feedback or whatever. But that's kind of your other opportunity to get on the pod. We are narrowing our sights on a couple commenters / fans who I think will be good guests for an episode. So we're still trying to figure out who that's going to be. So keep commenting, get on our radar so we can get you on an actual episode. But if that's not you, record some questions or thoughts or whatever for us, and we'll play them on the episode and talk about them.
Where do they send them?
You can DM them to the Dink on Instagram or at Pickleball on Twitter.
Oh wow, that's a
We
flex.
are Pickleball.
That's a flex.
So now anytime somebody tweets anything about pickleball I don't like, it's like, hey, stop talking about us, because that's technically our name now on Twitter.
Make a lot of friends that way.
Yeah. Repthedink.com. Go buy some pickleball merch, and pickleballjobs.io if you want to work in pickleball. You do. We're adding new jobs, new companies. It's free to just go put your resume in there and make a profile. And we're just going to keep adding more pickleball jobs on there because everybody's hiring right now. Everybody's
Yeah,
trying to find good
we'll
quality
send that to Big
candidates.
Papa Jimmy,
Yeah.
looking for a virtual coach.
But that's it. All right. Next week we got Ben, and give us a sign off.
See ya. I was not prepared for that. Bye.
See ya.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, rather had fun.